All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a feeling that, well, it's way more than just a crush. It's that powerful force that can totally take over your entire world. So let's get right into the science behind what some people call obsessive love.
You know the feeling, right? I mean, we've all been there. That one person suddenly takes up all the space in your head, and you're just constantly replaying every single little interaction, every word, every glance.
And it's this insane emotional whiplash. One minute, you're literally walking on air because they smiled at you, and the very next, you're crashing back down to earth because they didn't text back right away. It's a complete roller coaster. So here's the thing. That all-consuming, world-stopping feeling, it isn't just a really strong crush. Turns out it's a recognized psychological state. It actually has a scientific name. And the reason it feels so incredibly intense, well, that's where things get really fascinating. Okay, so first things first, let's actually put a formal name to this whole intense experience. The term is limerence. It was coined way back in the 1970s by a psychologist named Dorothy Tennov, and she defined it as an involuntary state of really intense adoration, and it's coupled with these obsessive thoughts about another person. That person is often called the limerent object. And that word, involuntary, that's the real key here. Limerence isn't something you choose. It's a state that feels like it's happening to you. It just kind of hijacks your thoughts, and it makes the whole experience feel totally, completely out of your control. So that's the big question, isn't it? How do you know if what you're feeling is just a super intense crush or if it's actually this specific psychological state? Well, thankfully, Dorothy Tennov laid out some really clear criteria for us to look at. So let's break down the 3 key signs. And hey, if you've ever been through this, I'm betting these are going to sound very familiar. Okay, so number 1 is intrusive thinking. This is when thoughts of that person just constantly invade your mind, whether you want them to or not. Then, number 2, an intense craving for reciprocation. This is a deep, acute, almost desperate need for them to feel the exact same way about you. And finally, number 3 is mood dependency. This means your entire emotional state, your happiness, your sadness, it all hinges on their actions or even just what you think their actions mean. You know, understanding these signs is one thing, but it doesn't quite explain the sheer force of it, does it? The power behind it all. To really get that, we have to look at what's going on inside our own heads. And this, right here, is where things get really, really interesting. Let's take a look at your brain on limerence. What happens is that limerence basically hijacks your brain's reward system. I mean, it completely seizes control of the exact same neural pathways that are responsible for things like motivation and addiction. Your brain literally stops seeing them as just a person and starts seeing them as a reward, a prize that has to be won. So there are 2 key players at work in your brain. First up, you've got dopamine, that's the feel-good chemical, right? It just skyrockets. Any little sign of reciprocation from them gives you this massive dopamine hit, which creates that intense pleasure and makes you crave more. But at the very same time, your serotonin levels drop. And low serotonin, well, that's linked to things like obsessive-compulsive disorder, or OCD, which helps explain those constant, intrusive, obsessive thoughts. And this whole neurochemical cocktail, it has a visible effect. I'm talking when researchers put people who were deep in a limerence state into an fMRI machine, they saw brain activity that looked remarkably similar to the scans of people struggling with addiction or OCD. It's wild. It just proves this isn't just a feeling. It's a real, measurable, physiological event happening inside your brain. Okay, so this leads to a really common question. If it feels this powerful, this intense, it's gotta be the real deal, right? Like, this is true love? Well, not exactly. And there is a really, really critical difference we need to talk about. So let's put limerence and lasting love side by side and really dig into what separates them. And honestly, the differences are pretty stark. The whole focus of limerence is on winning that person over, getting them to love you back. But lasting love, it's all about mutual care and growth. Limerence is built on this idealized fantasy of who you think they are. Real love is based on the authentic person, flaws and all. And that's exactly why limerence gives you those crazy highs and devastating lows, and is, by its nature, temporary. Lasting love, on the other hand, is about comfort, stability, trust, and it has the potential to last a lifetime. I love this analogy because it sums it up so perfectly. Think of limerence as a firework. It's spectacular, it's dazzling, it takes your breath away.
but it's a short-lived explosion. Lasting love? That's the hearth. It's warm, it's steady, it's dependable. It's what provides comfort and light for the long haul. So, when we pull all this together, what's the big takeaway from this really powerful human experience? Okay, the single most important thing to remember is this. Going through limerence does not mean there's something wrong with you. It is not a character flaw. It's not a sign of weakness. It's actually a powerful and, in a lot of ways, totally normal function of our incredibly complex brain chemistry. If anything, it's a testament to our amazing capacity for deep feeling. And while the experience can be both incredibly euphoric and just devastatingly painful, the science gives us some much-needed perspective. Limerence has a shelf life. That insane intensity, it's designed to fade as your brain chemistry eventually finds its way back to baseline. So if you take one thing away, let it be this. It is temporary. And that really leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? If we can understand the psychology and the neuroscience behind limerence, if we know it's a chemical hijack and not some kind of cosmic sign from the universe, can we gain the power to navigate it a little more wisely? Maybe appreciate the high without being completely destroyed by the low? That's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer.